The Galactic Council chamber was a place where silence had power. It floated above the calm blue clouds of Mirian, a planet chosen for peace talks because no one had ever fought there. The hall was circular, filled with floating seats, shining banners, and light that shifted like the surface of water. Every species sent their best diplomats here. Every race tried to look calm and wise. Humans were new to this circle. They had joined only 10 years ago, after centuries of being ignored by most of the older races. To the others, humans were a young civilization, fast and emotional but too polite to be dangerous. They smiled too much, apologized too quickly, and often tried to sound friendly even when insulted. That was why many in the chamber smirked when Captain Elias Ward entered. He was tall but quiet, his uniform simple gray with no ornaments. He didn't walk like a warrior, more like a teacher. 2 aides followed him, a woman named Clara and a young man named Reese, both looking nervous as eyes from dozens of alien species turned to them. The council chair, a crystal-skinned being with glowing eyes, called for order. The meeting began. The reason for the gathering was the Mirian incident. It was supposed to be a small matter, a misunderstanding between a human research vessel and a Vorlian patrol ship near a disputed nebula. But the Vorlians claimed the humans had crossed their border and destroyed one of their craft. When the Vorlian ambassador, tall and covered in metallic scales, stood to speak, his voice was cold and proud. The human vessel was warned 3 times, he said. They ignored all orders and fired without cause. We demand punishment. Many delegates nodded. Vorlians were one of the strongest military species in the council. Their words carried weight. Captain Ward stood slowly. With respect, your version is not true, he said. His voice was calm, almost gentle. Our ship carried scientists and medical staff. They were unarmed. The Vorlian's silver eyes narrowed. Then how did my patrol ship explode? Ward looked at the chair. We brought the footage. A hologram filled the air. Everyone turned to watch. The Vorlian ship appeared first, shining with red lights. It circled the small human vessel and fired warning shots. The humans sent peaceful messages. Then, without reason, the Vorlian craft opened full fire. Human shields glowed, struggling to hold. The recording ended with the human ship drifting, half destroyed before escaping. The chamber went quiet. The Vorlian ambassador hissed, "Lies, human technology can fake anything." Elias did not raise his voice. The recording came from 3 independent sensors, including your own. He pressed another command, and data strings appeared, Vorlian identification codes, weapon logs, even heat signatures. The chair tilted his head, uncertain. It does seem authentic. Still, no one spoke for the humans. The others looked uneasy. The Vorlians had influence, and most species avoided conflict with them. Ward took a deep breath. We lost 9 people. Earth requests a formal apology and fair reparations. The Vorlian ambassador gave a dry laugh. Humans, he said. You come here and demand respect you have not earned. You exist in our space only because we allow it. Several delegates murmured in discomfort. Clara, standing behind Elias, clenched her fists. Reese looked ready to speak, but Elias lifted a hand slightly, stopping him. He looked at the Vorlian for a long moment, his eyes steady. Your words are noted, he said. The ambassador smirked. Good, then sit down before you embarrass your species further. Elias didn't move. Ambassador, he said quietly, do you remember the word mercy? The Vorlian frowned. Mercy is for the weak. That single sentence made something in Elias's face change. His polite smile faded. The warmth in his eyes cooled. He didn't shout. He didn't move. But his silence carried weight like the calm before a storm. Clara whispered, Captain, maybe we should leave. There's no point arguing, Elias answered softly. No, not yet. The chamber lights dimmed as the council chair called for a recess. Delegates began talking among themselves. The humans stayed quiet, standing near the window that looked out at the stars. Reese muttered, They'll never admit fault. They think we're just small. Elias nodded slowly. That's because they've never seen us angry. The 2 aides exchanged worried glances. They knew their captain's reputation, calm, reasonable, always choosing peace first. But they had also heard stories. Once, during a rescue mission on Titan, pirates had taken hostages. Elias had negotiated for 3 hours. Then, when talks failed, he had acted in 30 seconds. No one ever knew exactly what he did, only that the hostages came home safely and the pirates never returned. Now, as he stood watching the planet below, his eyes were the same, focused, unreadable. When the meeting resumed, Elias said little. He only took notes, answering questions with short, polite replies, but those close to him noticed that he no longer smiled. The warmth that made him seem human in the alien hall had disappeared. After the session, the Vorlian delegation laughed loudly in the corridor, their voices echoing through the crystal walls. They spoke carelessly, mocking fragile earthlings. One of them passed near Clara and said, "You should be proud your captain at least dresses well. Little human." Clara's face went red, but Elias's voice stopped her from replying. "Ignore them," he said calmly. Then he turned to the ambassador, who had paused nearby. "Tomorrow's session will reveal more information," Elias said. "Beyond time," the Vorlian sneered. "Or what?" Elias met his gaze. "Or you'll find out why humans prefer peace." The ambassador laughed again, but his voice trembled slightly. Something in Elias's tone didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like a fact. That night, the human ship Resolute orbited quietly above Mirian. Its crew received silent transmissions, coded messages from Earth Command. The reply from Elias was short. "Understood," proceeding with measured transparency. Inside the ship, engineers prepared data packets, evidence, and sensor files. But they also activated systems that hadn't been used since the Terran-Karn War. Defensive programs designed to disable entire fleets without destroying them. Clara asked carefully, "Captain, are we expecting trouble?" Elias looked out the viewport. "No," he said softly. "We're showing them truth," she frowned. "And if they don't want to see it?" His answer was almost a whisper. "Then they'll see something else." Down on Mirian, the council building glowed like a jewel under the twin moons. Delegates prepared speeches and press statements. The Vorlians wrote their victory report in advance, believing humans would retreat quietly as always. But in one section of the orbital sky, 22 human ships were moving into position. They made no sound, no announcement. Their engines glowed faint blue, running at low power. To the sensors of other races, they looked harmless. Research vessels, transports, survey craft. Yet deep within their hulls, silent systems awoke, ready for something no one in the council had ever seen. Back in his quarters, Elias sat alone at his desk. On it lay a photo of Earth, blue, fragile, beautiful. He stared at it for a long time. Then he pressed the communicator. "Tomorrow," he said to his crew, "we remain polite until the truth is denied again. After that, we act. No aggression, no war, just demonstration." He ended the call and whispered to himself, "They think our kindness is weakness. They've mistaken calm for fear. They'll learn the difference." Outside, the stars drifted quietly by, unaware that the next sunrise would change how the galaxy saw humans forever. The calm of the council night was almost peaceful, almost too peaceful. But deep in that silence, humanity's patience was ending, one heartbeat at a time. The next morning, the council chamber was already buzzing when the human delegation arrived. Delegates from all over the galaxy whispered nervously. Many expected another round of calm words and polite gestures. Humans were young, some said, fragile, and easily dismissed. They had underestimated them before. Captain Elias Ward stepped into the chamber, his expression calm, almost casual. Clara and Reese followed silently, carrying data pads and communication devices. The Vorlian ambassador immediately rose, his silver eyes blazing. "Humans," he hissed. "You will apologize or leave. We have no time for your theatrics." Elias did not smile. "Ambassador, we brought evidence. Please watch carefully." He tapped a pad, and a large holographic display filled the center of the chamber. It showed new footage of the incident near the nebula. This time the images were clearer, sharper than anything the council had seen. The Vorlian patrol firing first, the human vessel shielding itself, crew members trying to signal peace while every moment laid bare. Gasps echoed through the room. Delegates from normally stoic races exchanged worried glances. The Vorlian ambassador's scales rippled with anger. "Fakes," he shouted. "You fabricate everything." Elias stayed calm. "These sensors are independent. They cannot lie. You see the truth now. Your fleet acted without reason. You captured our people. You fired first." For a long moment no one spoke. The silence was heavy. Clara and Reese noticed that the other delegates looked nervous, unsure how to respond to the calm authority of the humans. Even the council chair tilted her crystal head, examining the evidence, her glow dimming slightly as she realized how serious the situation was. Then Elias raised his voice slightly, slow and deliberate. "We came here for diplomacy. We came for peace. You have mocked our dead, denied the truth, and refused to act justly, so now we will show you what happens when patience ends." The room went silent. No one moved. The Vorlian ambassador glared, but there was hesitation now. Something in the human tone was unfamiliar. Not aggression, not threat, but quiet certainty that commanded attention. Outside the chamber, orbiting the planet, 22 human ships began to shift formation. Their movement was precise, synchronized, almost hypnotic. Other races watched from observation windows. To the naked eye, the vessels were research ships, harmless and small. Yet something was changing. A soft hum filled the sensors, almost imperceptible. Inside the chamber, Elias continued. "We prefer resolution without force, but when the truth is ignored, we respond in ways that leave no doubt about our intentions." Clara whispered to Reese, "Captain, do you think they understand yet?" He shook his head slightly. "Not yet. They will." The first sign came when the Vorlian fleet docked at their embassy stations. The sensors detected no explosions, no warning signals, yet engines began to falter. Weapon systems powered down automatically. The Vorlians scrambled to regain control. Panic spread across their displays. The council gasped. Every species present had never seen anything like it. No attack, no visible weapon, yet the entire Vorlian fleet was neutralized. Their ships hovered uselessly above the planet, helpless but undamaged. Elias turned back to the council. "This is not war," he said softly. "This is consequence. You see what happens when we are pushed beyond diplomacy." Delegates murmured among themselves. Some whispered about the power humans must hold, the intelligence and coordination necessary to act across sectors simultaneously. Others wondered how restraint had kept this hidden for so long. The Vorlian ambassador tried to regain composure. "You cannot, this is impossible. We control the fleet." "We," Elias interrupted him calmly. "You controlled nothing. You relied on fear, not truth. You assumed politeness was weakness. You were wrong." For the first time, the ambassador faltered. His voice shook, a sound the council had never heard before. The silver eyes that had once gleamed with arrogance now darted nervously. The council chair finally spoke, her tone firm but respectful. "Humans, your demonstration is undeniable. The Vorlians have broken protocol and caused harm. Their actions violate the laws of this assembly." Elias inclined his head slightly. "We are willing to discuss reparations. We prefer peace. We do not enjoy forcing this lesson, but you must understand, respect cannot be demanded. It must be recognized." The Vorlian ambassador sat down heavily. Other delegates whispered among themselves, nodding. Many were relieved that no destruction had occurred, yet awed at the precision and restraint shown by humans. Clara exhaled softly. They understand now. Elias did not smile, but his eyes were calmer than they had been during the initial confrontation. "They understand a little," he said. "Not fully. That comes over time." Outside, the human ships rearranged their formation, engines quiet, systems returning to surveillance mode. Nothing had been destroyed. No one had been harmed. Yet the message was clear. Humans would not tolerate injustice. The Vorlian ambassador finally spoke, his voice low, strained. What do you want from us?" Elias's answer was simple. Acknowledgement of the truth. Reparations for our lost. A commitment that no species will treat humanity as fragile or weak again. The council chair nodded. "It is clear that humans acted within their rights. The evidence is undeniable. The Vorlians will comply under council oversight." Delegates from other species glanced at each other, astonished. Even the normally quiet representatives from the ancient Ixali species whispered to one another about the remarkable control humans had shown. They had not attacked. They had not threatened harm. And yet they had forced the entire council to recognize truth. Elias stood and turned to leave. He walked calmly, Clara and Reese following. Behind them, whispers filled the chamber, discussions of human power, strategy, and restraint. For years, the galaxy would remember this day. Before leaving, Elias paused and looked back at the Vorlian ambassador. "You wanted to see what humans are without politeness," he said quietly. "This is only a glimpse. The ambassador did not answer. He could not. His entire demeanor had changed. The arrogance was gone, replaced by the dawning realization that the galaxy had underestimated a species that had once seemed small and polite. The human delegation exited the chamber without ceremony. Outside, their ships returned to formation, engines glowing faintly, moving as quietly as they had arrived. Observers from every race followed them silently. Some felt fear, some felt respect. All understood without words that humans were unlike any species the Council had ever met. Later, in a secure communications room aboard the lead ship, Elias addressed his crew. "Today we did not fight. We did not threaten. We acted with precision and restraint. But let them remember this: when patience ends, humanity is not weak." Clara nodded. "Do you think they will believe it fully?" Elias smiled faintly, the first smile of relief in many hours. "They will believe it soon. Power without recklessness is unforgettable. They will speak of this day for generations." Reese looked out the viewport at the stars glittering over Mirian. "It's beautiful, Captain, all of it, even their fear." Elias's eyes followed him. "Yes, and it is ours to protect. Not by weapons, not by war, but by principle. That is the difference we bring to the galaxy." Below, on the surface of Mirian, the Council sent out its official statement. Humans had acted without aggression. They had enforced justice with restraint. They had shown what it meant when politeness ends and truth is upheld. The galaxy took note. And somewhere deep in the human fleet, Captain Ward looked at the stars again. "Calm, quiet, and resolute," he whispered. "Let them remember this day. That day, every species at the Council would never forget what it meant to see humanity's polite mode turn off in real time. And the quiet, absolute power that followed."